you send?
You gonna do the marathons?
I'll tell you later. It's
Or live.
sent to our council, but it's not even. Okay. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trustee Cheney?
Here.
Trustee Foster is absent. Mayor Newhart?
Here.
Trustee Fleur?
Here.
Trustee McKnight?
Here.
Stephen Gao?
Okay. May I have a motion to accept the minutes of March 3rd, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And a motion to accept the following reports of February 2025, Clerk's Office, Justice Department, Planning Department, and Building Department reports, and the December 2024 and January 2025 Building Department reports. Do I have a second?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And motion for authorization to pay all approved and audited claims in the amount of $347,836.24.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Chief, have anything to share with us?
Sure. I didn't make any meetings in February, so I'm just going back through all my notes to give you some highlights.
Okay.
On February 11th, we switched over our 30-plus year phone system over to something more updated. But what really happened that was more impactful that day was we switched over our records management system. So we utilized grants that we received from the state to update all of our patrol cars. They have state-of-the-art modems in it, new computers. So for the first time since we hand wrote reports, we're able to do this out in the field now.
That's great.
In real time with our dispatch and eventually with every police department in Orange County.
Wow.
Right now, 3 departments were chosen to be the pilots.
Mhm.
It was us, the city of Middletown, and the village of Monroe. So we're a little more than a month into it right now. It seems to be going very well.
Mhm.
We've got over most of the training hurdles, and it's a good company to deal with where if we're coming up with things that are not working properly for us, they're able to adjust the programs. So we're not really fixed into one set of computer rules. So that, I think, is going to benefit us in the long run with being out in our posts more often than having to come back to the station and do any of the reports, and reduce fuel costs eventually and wear and tear on the cars. So we're very happy about that.
How's it, do they have pads or how's that?
They're laptops, but they are able to, we are able to take them as long as we can stay connected to the car.
Mhm.
We are able, within a certain distance, to take them into a house to do a report. So as we get all the kinks out, I foresee more times than not when people walk in to give reports, we may encourage them to go back to their house and we'll send the car there if they're comfortable. Some people aren't always comfortable with a car in their driveway, but if we can take it more reporting in the field, you know, it'll really give us the biggest bang for our buck on that.
Great.
We just had 3 police officers, part-timers, graduate the police academy last, on March 7th. 2 of them received awards. One of them received 5 awards
Wow.
for his time in the academy. So you'll see a few new faces on the streets here. They're going through our training program, and then they'll be on solo patrol.
Okay.
And we're getting ready to oil up the chains on the bicycles and get them out soon with springtime coming. We just handled the St. Patrick's Day Parade in the village, and we're getting ready for Middle League next month.
Right.
For the opening day parade.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much all I have right now.
That's good.
Thank you.
The parades are lining up, so.
It's the season.
Good, thank you very much. And we have a public hearing, so if you could read the notice, Jen.
Please take notice that the Village Board of the Village of Warwick will hold a public hearing on the 17th day of March 2025 at 7:30 o'clock p.m. at Village Hall, 77 Main Street, Warwick, New York, 10990, on a proposed local law entitled the Village of Warwick Temporary Moratorium on the Acceptance and Processing of Applications for Approval of Public Utility Facilities Involving Energy Storage Systems. The purpose of this local law is to promote the public health, safety, and welfare by enacting a 6-month moratorium on the acceptance and processing of applications for land use approvals for public utility facilities involving energy storage systems in the Village of Warwick, in order to afford the Village Board time to develop and enact local regulations sufficient to oversee the approval and safe operation of the same. A copy of the proposed local law has been posted on the village's website, is on file in the office of the village clerk, and is available for inspection by interested persons during village clerk's business hours. The village board will, at the above date, time, and place, are all persons interested in the subject matter hereof. Persons may appear in person or by agent. All written communications addressed to the village board must be received by the village board at or prior to the public hearing.
Great. Thank you, Jen.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll open it up to the public if anybody would like to comment on this action. Yes, Mr. Krulik.
My name's Robert Krahulik. I reside at 64 Ackerman Road. And I'm just curious whether you received any applications or notice to locate a project within the village. Are there any
Not,
proposed locations?
no, there aren't. There aren't. Thank you.
Other than the existing
Other than the existing one, which is on
Church Street.
Church Street Extension. Yes. Board, any comments, thoughts? No? Okay. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Jen, would you make the announcement about the election?
Yes. The general village election for the Village of Warwick will be held on Tuesday, March 18th, 2025, at Goodwill Hook and Ladder Company, 25 Church Street Extension, Warwick, New York. The polls will be open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Candidates nominated to fill the office of one village justice for a 4-year term are Janine Garitano Wadeson, Village Justice, 4-year term, 24 Park Avenue, Warwick, New York, 10990.
Very good, thank you. And under correspondence this evening, we have a number of things. We have an email from village resident Brian Torpy in support of amending Chapter 36 of the Village Code to allow chickens in the village. Also an email from village resident Patrick Gallagher regarding short-term rental deliberations. A letter from the New York State Department of Transportation providing an update on the New York State routes 94 and 17A paving and improvements. A letter from the Monarch Village Pollinator Project Team requesting consideration of funding in the amount of $1,000 for the June 2025 Monarch Village Fest. And a letter from the Warwick Valley Community Center requesting consideration of increasing the budget allocation towards their initiatives and programs. And under discussions this evening, we have 42 Orchard Street, petition for zone change and submittal of EFA questionnaire. And Steve, I'll lean on you to give us some guidance.
Sure. The applicant made a presentation to the board regarding the zoning change that's being proposed. There's a subdivision which the planning board conditionally approved, and now the village board has to make a determination as to whether or not you're willing to move forward with the draft local law I've prepared, which would allow for the zoning change to be made. The zoning change is basically just changing the zoning map designated area on it from R to LI, that particular area. So the law itself is simple enough. The procedure for enacting it's laid out in the resolution for it. There's a couple of referrals that would go with it. I would note one thing about it. If you do decide to go forward with it, the EAF doesn't check that the planning board's an involved agency. You just need to check that box and submit that one page.
Okay.
So, but the first thing to be decided is whether the board is, well, if you have any questions for the applicant, of course, but beside that, whether you're willing to move forward with the local law. If you are, you have a resolution introducing it and setting a public hearing. If you're not, there's an end to it.
Okay.
Can we, Steve, review, go back to a couple of the basics here, right? I saw in the EAF it was about 5,000 square feet. I assume they're referring to the portion behind it, at the back of the lot that is, abutting the commercial property? Are we just talking about that one subdivided portion, or are we
Yes.
talking about the entire lot of 42 Orchard?
The 42 Orchard lot is the woman's home, if I recall correctly.
Right.
What's happening is the rear yard's being cut off, and the zoning for the rear yard is being changed to LI, and it's going to be, I believe, merged with the car wash property that it's currently using it for parking and snow storage.
Right, so why is there a zoning proposal for the house when that piece of the land is just gonna go with the commercial
Well, it's
property?
technically, right now, there isn't a zoning change for the house. The house is gonna remain R.
That's what I was wondering. That's what I'm asking.
It is.
It is. Okay. Because it's not clear when we talk about the zoning for 42 Orchard, because 42 Orchard is the
No,
house.
Yeah, address,
until
yeah.
the subdivision is actually done and the piece is carved off of it, it's still technically 42 Orchard, even though it's the house that fronts on 42 Orchard, and the rear yard is in the back, kind of being used as part of the car wash now.
Right, I'm familiar with it. So what assurances are there that the house remains in R1?
Is never changed. This board decides whether the zoning changes or not. The house is gonna remain R, because it's a house.
Right.
And if they ever wanna change from R to LI or something else, they have to come to the village board and ask for a zoning change.
So my question is, the subdivision has not happened yet.
It's been conditionally approved.
Okay.
But it hasn't happened, it's not filed with the county, there's no separate deed for the rear yard, which is gonna be, they call it lot 2, the subdivision.
Okay. Makes sense. Barry? Mr. Kulik, do you want to make any comments to
Sure,
the
if I could
board?
be heard very shortly. We have submitted a detailed meets and bounds description of the parcel that we're seeking the zone change for, and it is only the 5,900 square feet toward the rear of the lot. The front of the lot where the house is located has nothing to do with the zone change. So that.
Thanks,
to answer
Bob.
your question,
That's what I was asking, and I couldn't
That's
get
the
it.
assurance, is we've submitted a detailed surveyor's meets and bounds description, which only describes that piece of land in the back.
Got it.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Mary?
Because I don't think I've seen that part. I mean, I know it's on file with the planning board, but I'm looking at the EAF, and it's just, project location, it just says 42 Orchard. That's why I was trying to be very clear that we're talking about the piece in the back and not the entire lot that is otherwise in a residential zone. So what am I missing? Is that in
I'm familiar with
the
it.
law? I know what the property is,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is
I'm just
kind of
wondering,
what
is
this
is
Would it
that in the
help if I
law?
approach with the map? I have the map.
That'd be great, Bob.
Can we
if you don't
just
mind.
watch
The law
this
has
guy?
the description.
Okay, so here's 42 Orchard.
Right,
It extends all the way back to the river.
right.
The subdivision created lot number 1 and lot number 2.
Yeah.
The parcel that is the subject of the zone change is lot number 2, this lot right here. And then as shown on the subdivision, this is the subdivision map that the planning board approved. This lot line will be eliminated, and a new lot line will be created right there.
So it becomes one big lot.
This will become one big lot, and this will become a smaller lot. I say smaller, it's still relatively the same size as all the lots that are adjacent to it.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Bob.
And just by way of background, again, this was done at the request of the building inspector, who just sort of wanted to clean this up, and my client was more than happy to comply when he goes to sell someday. He doesn't want any headaches. I hope everybody can appreciate the time and expense he's invested to make this happen. It's been a long, expensive process, but he's happy to do the right thing.
Very good. Thank you. Any other comments? So we'll move on to public comments. it's the moment that the public can speak to the board on agenda items at this point. There's another public comment period at the end for non-agenda items.
About the chickens?
The agenda items that you listed,
Oh, yeah.
like, there was an email from Brian about chicken regulations
Right.
in the city.
You
Yeah.
you could comment on that.
All right, so what I want to comment on, and I thought he was going to be here, so I apologize. So, we all live on Fairview Avenue.
Okay.
Which is in the village.
Yes.
I've lived here for 3 years, and these guys have lived here for roughly the same amount of time. This law was passed in 1976. Nobody seems to know why. I even spoke with Boris about why the law was passed. He had no idea. He was open to the law changing. Along with Brian, like, I just don't know why it was passed in 1976. A lot has changed since then. There can obviously be regulations, no roosters, chicken limit, things to that effect. How do we go about getting the law changed? Because I myself, so I live at 11 Fairview Avenue. You probably came to my property last year. I was on the Warwick Garden tour
Oh, yes, yeah.
last year. So I pride myself and my children learning about sustainability, learning about vegetables. I mean, they're 4 and 5 years old. They know how to grow vegetables. They can identify flowers. They know what a seed does from start to finish.
Right.
My oldest 5-year-old, her favorite food is a chicken sandwich. Or not chicken sandwich.
Oh, boy.
Every morning she has an egg sandwich.
Egg sandwich.
And she, I want her to know where eggs come from.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So she knows where a tomato comes from, eggplant comes from, all this stuff. She also wants to know where a chicken comes from. So my question is, like, how do we get this law changed? Because I understand that there's some misconceptions about cleanliness. A lot has changed since 1976. There could be a pilot program myself, because I mean, I've had people at my house. I've had 300 people at my house last year on this tour. They were very surprised and encouraged about what they could do with their property, because unlike the other people on the tour, I do vegetables, I do fruits, you know what I mean? I bring something different.
Yeah.
And I'm all about sustainability. So yeah, I mean, my question is, like, how do we get this?
So to give you a little history, not this board, but a prior board, looked at this as a local law. And we were working with Cornell Cooperative Extension
Okay,
to do a pilot program. And we were moving along, but then we ended up getting a lot of pushback, public pushback.
okay.
And then we let it go. And so now here it is again.
Yeah,
And it's a different time, again. I mean, this was 10 years ago, probably,
Yeah, more than that, right? 15.
maybe.
I mean, I understand there's misconceptions. My neighbor is in the assumption that you need a rooster to have eggs.
No,
And that's a silly concept.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't need a rooster. I'm willing to, if people need an example of cleanliness and how to have a clean chicken coop in your backyard, like, I'm willing to have people come over into my backyard and say, this is how we do it, or have some sort of pilot program to be like,
Right.
this is the example, this is what you should do to have chickens in your backyard, and a family of 4 only needs 4 to 6 chickens. You don't need that many chickens. So I'm not talking about a flock of 50 or even 20,
Right,
you
right.
know what I mean? Like, we can definitely keep limits as to the borders, like property borders, away from the property border. We can have limits on chickens, obviously no roosters. I don't wanna wake up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I live at
My backyard.
my neighbor is is in the town, actually, so it's kind of a village edge.
Yeah,
He has a rooster, because he can.
and it's terrible.
It's not so bad, it's far enough away, but it's still
Well,
like,
there you
whoa.
go, yeah. Well, I find it silly that, like, even the town, like, my wife just sold a property to one of our neighbors up on Woodside Avenue, and that's like, one portion of their property can have chickens, one portion of their property can't have chickens.
Right.
And that's like,
Like Nicole.
Nicole,
silly,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, Brian gave us, it was a great email, he gave us some examples of municipalities that do,
Yes.
that are generally our size and
Yes,
maybe
I
our
read that,
complexion. and I think we'll look into that. I think I believe the board wants to look at it.
Okay.
And I think we should reach out to Cornell again
Okay.
to give us some guidance, but we may start a small task force or something. If you'd like to be part of that, that would be great.
More than willing, yes.
And, but right now, we're in the throes of our budget, and that will be done in another couple of weeks. And so we're really kind of trying to keep the decks clear until we get that. We can do some things, like I'll reach out to Cornell and just tell them that we're interested and we'll go from there. So it takes steps,
I
but
understand.
it's not that complex.
I understand.
But there will be public opinions, that's for sure.
I get it.
We're already getting them, and on both sides of the coop, so.
So what can I do to help you get in contact with whoever at Cornell or move forward with this?
I'll reach out to Cornell, because it would be kind of the municipal piece that I think that would have an impact, and they would want to hear from us that we are interested. And, but if you could give us your contact information, I would appreciate that, and I'll contact you and tell you where we are or how we're doing it. So
Okay. Just a question for the board, are you all in the village?
We
Yeah,
have to be.
We have to be.
Are you opposed? Are you all, like, are you opposed
I'm on the
to chickens?
fence. I have hesitations.
What
We
are
have
your
a lot of,
hesitations?
well, we have a lot of cats in our neighborhood,
Okay.
and I'm kind of like, if people can't keep their cats indoors, or if I come home and there's a cat on our porch or cats in our backyard, like, cats I can manage. Chickens, I can't. I don't want to come home and find a chicken on my front porch. What would I even do? So that's kind of like my hesitation. If we can't keep the cats in line, how are we going to keep the chickens in line?
Well, it's a whole different set
No,
of-
I
set of-
understand.
yeah.
And I grew up in the country. I'm familiar with farming and chickens and everything. I have mixed feelings about it.
People would be very up in arms keeping cats enclosed in a space. But when it comes to chickens, it's different. You know,
Right.
Like we could have a regulation about chickens being enclosed. I mean, not just free, you can't just free range your chickens. There's a way you can do
Right.
it where they are enclosed. But you're not just gonna let your chickens just run free.
No, I
You know
understand.
what I mean? So,
We've seen a
yeah,
chicken coop
yeah.
before.
I understand your concerns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and there's also something I feel about if we're gonna roll back village laws, I think it really needs to be done under careful consideration. Because obviously, I feel like it was passed for a reason, and I understand the law has changed in then. But I don't want to go that easy into just rolling laws back.
He just brought up a good example as well, like, when spring and summer rolls around, one of our biggest concerns in our family is ticks. I get them all the time, my daughters get them all the time, chickens eat ticks. And there's deer all around, everybody hates the deer, nobody wants to do anything about the deer, and deer bring ticks, you know what I mean? So another good thing about chickens is that it's a natural tick control, you know what I mean? So that's a good thing
Yeah,
when it comes
that's a
to.
good point.
That's a good thing when it comes to tick control. Because I don't like spraying things on my yard. I'm not a
Right.
big fan of spraying things. Or even like, a lot of people don't know about dirty sprays. And I have neighbors who have dirty sprays that drift onto my property. And I'm not a big fan of that, especially when I see the gentleman spraying and my daughters are playing on their playground. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
not, I don't enjoy that. You know what I mean? It really upsets me. It really does. But anyway, any conversation we can have to move this along
Yeah.
and move it forward. I would be willing
Absolutely.
to have a pilot program where it's just a few of us trying it out.
Correct, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That might be the way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the concerns is the last time and already I've heard some response is predator animals,
Yeah, that's
bring,
another thing.
I mean, we're in nature. We're surrounded by
They're already
coyotes
here.
and
They're already here.
all sorts of
Yeah.
stuff, raccoons and
Yeah.
you name it.
Those
So,
coyotes are coming for
foxes.
your dogs.
Right.
They're coming for your cats.
Right.
So are the fox. They're already here.
Yeah.
You know,
So it's a matter of safekeeping, that's.
understandable. Yeah. And that's one of the things that can be, you know, on the pilot program, safekeeping, because we don't want to lose chickens.
Right.
So we're keeping them safe, you know what I mean? So setting an example as to what people can do, because a lot of people don't know what they can do
Right.
to keep the chickens safe, you know? So if we can have people that are showing people, you know, this is what can be done, then that would be a way to go about it.
I must say that big tub of chicks at Waits and is always,
They do love, I do love
It
looking
went
at
quick,
them.
it went quick, it's already gone, I went there this morning, it's already gone. Blew my mind, yeah,
But if you,
prices these
this
days.
might,
yeah,
if
exactly.
you buy a baby chick, is there any way to know it's a rooster or male or female? Like,
Well,
isn't that
when they
something
come,
that-
when they come from the hatchery,
You can
they
get-
sex them.
okay.
So you're, I mean, it's 99% accurate, you know, you're not guaranteed.
Yeah, because
but-
I understand like saying they're roosters, but like, how do you guarantee that?
Yeah, they
Like,
sex
how do
them at the
you?
hatchery.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
very good.
Thank you.
Well, if you could leave your name and contact information, you
Yeah, I'll leave you my card.
Oh, that'd be great.
Who do I leave it with?
could leave it with me. That'd be
Okay.
great. Yeah, with the clerk. Yeah.
I think it's fine.
Hey, if you need a beautiful plant wall, this guy makes.
Yeah, I
Ah.
know, my walls.
Ah, okay, very good.
Okay.
Local
Okay.
Put
business
one in
owner.
our house,
Okay.
it's like, this, just,
Oh,
it's
nice.
just like eliminates all the toxins, it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard about that.
Okay, well, thank you very
I
much.
appreciate
Appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Mr. Krahulik?
Just to supplement the conversation, an extremely valuable and important agency to review this with would be New York State Department of Ag and Markets. They have right to farm laws out there. They can offer a lot of guidance, input on legislation. I can tell you the town of Warwick received a love letter from them recently over the town's restrictions on chicken coops. And one particular property owner with a very small piece of property wanted to build a chicken coop that didn't conform to the town's zoning code, and Ag and Markets made it pretty clear that we better figure it out because they thought it's a violation of the New York State right to farm laws, so
Okay,
lots of different
Wow.
considerations.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Interesting. Thank you.
thank you. Okay. Any other comments? Okay, we're going to move on to motions. And as far as motions go, we'll be removing motion 11, and there is an addendum at the end. So Barry, do you want to start?
Sure.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Motion to accept the proposal from Rafa Systems LLC for the purchase of Starlink devices, including activation and subscription, and a one-year service agreement maintenance plan at a cost not to exceed $14,045. Funds are appropriated in budget codes G 8120-4500 and F 8320-4550.
Second.
Okay. Any comments? All in favor?
Bye.
Motion to authorize the mayor to execute the 2025 DOT and non-DOT drug and alcohol testing agreements with Partners in Safety, and to authorize payment in the amount of $870 for the 2025 DOT and non-DOT consortium fees for the drug and alcohol program at a rate of $58 per employee. Funds are appropriated in budget code A 4010-4910 in the fiscal year 2024-25 budget.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Motion to grant permission to Village of Warwick employee Christopher Bennett to carry over 5 vacation days.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Motion to approve payment number 2 in the amount of $19,368.64 to TAM Enterprises for the relocation of the Maple Avenue Booster Station project for the mobilization and site clearing on Grand Street as per the recommendation of Village Engineer Barton and LaJudas. Funds are appropriated in budget code F 8320.2000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Motion to approve payment number 6 in the amount of $6,109.73 to TAM Enterprises, Inc. for the Pole Barn DPW project for the completion of the remaining portions of the structure's exterior construction and the demobilization by the contractor per recommendation of Village Engineer Keith Woodruff. Funds are appropriated in budget code A1640.2350.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve payment number 7 in the amount of $11,598.50 to TAM Enterprises, Inc. for the Pole Barn DPW project for the release of the 5% retainage per the recommendation of village engineer Keith Woodruff. The contracted project work, including demobilization, was completed by the contractor on January 23rd, 2025. Funds are appropriated in budget code A1640.2350.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to grant permission to DPW Supervisor Mike Moser to attend the New York Rural Water Association's 46th Annual Technical Training Workshop and Exhibition from May 19th through May 21st, 2025 at the Turning Stone Resort, Verona, New York, with a registration fee of $385, which includes breakfast and lunch on May 20th and May 21st only, and $174 per night for the hotel stay. Mileage reimbursement is not applicable. Village vehicle will be used. Funds are appropriated in budget code F83404750.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let's divvy this up. Tom, would you take the Carly's resolution, number 8?
Yes, resolution approving an intermunicipal agreement for the Transportation Safety Action Plan. Whereas the Village of Warwick has been awarded a grant to complete a comprehensive town-wide transportation safety action plan in collaboration with the Town of Warwick, the Village of Greenwood Lake, and the Village of Florida. And whereas the parties to the town-wide transportation safety action plan wish to memorialize their shared and respective responsibilities for funding and implementing the town-wide transportation safety action plan through execution of an intermunicipal agreement, a copy of which is attached hereto. And whereas the village board finds the terms and conditions of the said intermunicipal agreement to be acceptable. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. 1, that the village board hereby approves the said intermunicipal agreement. And 2, that the mayor is authorized to execute the intermunicipal agreement and any documents necessary to carry out the terms and provisions thereof.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's a roll call.
Trustee Cheney?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Fluo?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
Yes. Do you want to do the
Want me to
next
keep going?
one?
Sure. Motion to accept the proposal from Engineering and Surveying Properties for project management services for the Veterans Memorial Park Master Plan with a focus on the Patriots Path and related improvements located at 1 Memorial Park Drive with a not-to-exceed cost of $16,000 without prior written authorization from the Village of Warwick Board of Trustees, and authorize the mayor to sign the sames. Funds are appropriated in money in lieu of Parks Fund.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just as a note to the trustees, we did receive a pretty large amount or good amount of proposals, responses to that project, so we're very excited at that. And because of the detail that's involved, it's imperative that we have somebody like our engineer to look at it carefully.
Great.
Yeah.
Motion to submit the 2025-2026 Local Government Records Management Improvement Fund, LGR-MIF, grant application to support a document conversion and access project for the offices of the village clerk and village treasurer, and authorize the mayor to sign the same.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So 11 we're skipping. And do you want Mary to pick some of this up?
I can keep going. It's up to you, Mary.
I can take it over from here. Motion to approve the proposal of NYSID preferred source vendor eBiz Docs for the digitization and indexing of approximately 65.25 cubic feet of records, or approximately 265,000 images, per their proposal dated March 5th, 2025, at a cost not to exceed $46,207.20, per the recommendation of Village Clerk, Records Management Officer Rena Abramson.
Okay.
Project is subject to the award of a 2025-26 New York State Archives Local Government Records Management Improvement Fund grant. Funds to be included in the fiscal year 25-26 budget.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Motion to add one additional clerk position to the Village of Warwick Civil Service Position Control and authorize the mayor to sign Form MSD 222 in accordance with Orange County Civil Service requirements. Hiring part-time staff to this position is subject to the award of a 2025-26 New York State Archives Local Government Records Management Improvement Fund grant in order to perform the required 100% record verification prior to records destruction. Funds to be included in the fiscal year 2025-26 budget.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I can continue.
That's good.
Motion to grant permission to Village of Warwick employee Rena Abramson to carry over 5 vacation days.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to grant permission to Wickham Works to use the east side of Stanley Deming Park for the Too Good to Toss event from 8 a.m. on Friday, May 30th, 2025 through Sunday, June 1st, 2025, with cleanup to be completed by noon or 12 p.m. on Monday, June 2nd, 2025. The request includes use of basketball court and lawn area around the handball court, use of restrooms and water fountains from Friday, May 30th through Monday, June 2nd. Access to the water at the basketball courts for filling the tent weights, and 18 parking spaces near the entrance of the basketball court to be reserved for drop-off and pickup items only. For drop-off and pickups only. In coordination with the DPW supervisor, Mike Moser, Village of Warwick DPW is requested to lock the back gate to the basketball court next to the tool shed, provide 15+ orange parking cones and reflective vests for parking volunteers, place 10 to 12 garbage cans, recycling bins in the basketball court, designate parking in the grass behind the basketball courts to designate additional temporary accessible parking spaces on Parkway, close the entrance of Stanley Deming Park, and pick up of leftover items and trash on Monday, June 2nd, 2025. The Warwick Police, Fire, EMS departments have been notified of the event. The event details and traffic plan have been approved by DPW Supervisor Mike Moser. The Village of Warwick will contribute up to half the total event cost, with a maximum payment of approximately $2,100 to cover the rental, delivery, setup, and pickup of tents, tables, and chairs. Funds are appropriated in fiscal year 2024-25 budget, code A7550.4950. Completed park permit, proof of insurance, and security deposit have been received.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, Barry, do you want to pick it up?
16, right?
Yep.
16, yes.
Motion to grant permission to Sanfordville Elementary School to hold a kindergarten class picnic in Stanley Deming Park on Tuesday, May 6th, 2025, and Wednesday, May 7th, 2025, between 12 p.m. and 2 p.m., with a rain date of Thursday, May 8th, 2025. Request includes use of restrooms, completed park permit, and proof of insurance have been received.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to grant permission to Park Avenue Elementary to hold a second grade class picnic in Stanley Deming Park on Tuesday, June 3rd, between 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., with a rain date of Thursday, June 5th, 2025. Request includes use of restrooms. Completed park permit and proof of insurance have been received.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to grant permission to the Union AME Church Missionary Society to use Railroad Green on Saturday, June 7th, 2025, from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. with a rain date of Saturday, June 14th, 2025, for a community health fair. The request includes access to electricity, a sound system with a DJ, placement of one portable toilet, and the setup of tents for the duration of the event. A completed facility use permit, proof of insurance, and security deposit have been received.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to close Railroad Avenue on Saturday, June 7th, 2025, with a rain date of Saturday, June 14th, 2025, from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the benefit of the Union AME Church Community Health Fair.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to grant permission to Anne Marie Van Orden to use the Veterans Memorial Park Pavilion to hold a graduation party on Sunday, June 13th, 2025, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. with setup to begin at 10 a.m. and cleanup to be completed by 7 p.m. Request includes use of restrooms, sound systems, pavilion lights, and electricity. Request also includes the setup of one stage inside the pavilion, 8 village-owned tables, 80 village-owned chairs, and the village-owned picnic tables. 3 local bands to play between the hours of 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. Completed park permit, insurance, and security deposit have been received.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to schedule a public hearing on the tentative budget for fiscal year 2025-2026 on Monday, April 7th, 2025 at 7:30 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolution introducing proposed local law to permit override the tax levy limit established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C. Whereas the Village Board of the Village of Warwick is preparing a municipal budget for fiscal year 2025-2026, and whereas the budget for the 2025-2026 fiscal year will require a real property tax levy in excess of the tax levy limit as defined by General Municipal Law, Section 3-C, and whereas, in order to approve the said budget, it is necessary for the village board to enact a local law authorizing an override of the limit of the amount of real property taxes that may be levied by the Village of Warwick pursuant to GML Section 3-C, a copy of which is attached. Now, therefore, be it resolved as 1. That the move on of this resolution does hereby introduce the attached proposed local law. And 2, that a public hearing on the said local law is hereby set for April 7th, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. And 3, that the village clerk is hereby requested and directed to undertake publication and posting of notice of the public hearing.
Second.
As a point of conversation and what this is by law, we are required to create a local law in the event that we do override the tax levy limit. That is not to say that that is going to happen, but we are in the midst of our budget. We have been in the midst of our budget for weeks and maybe months, really. And it's a very difficult time. We're trying to balance a lot of things, juggle a lot of balls. As everyone knows, the increase of goods and services has skyrocketed. And we've been very, very careful about trying not to let that impact our citizens. But we are also facing, double-digit increases in insurance rates, in police costs, and these are the things that just internally that we are grappling with. And I think that's important for the public to know. So it hasn't been determined yet what it will be, whether we can maintain the 2% tax levy this year. But if not, we need this in place if we have to override that. Recently, the town finished their tax period and created their budget, and they had to do the very same thing. And I think that you will see this echoed throughout the state of New York. The 2% tax levy was put in place 12 years ago, and things have changed dramatically in terms of the costs from then to now. And so just as an understanding of what we're facing, and we face it together. We pay taxes, we're village residents, and we're concerned, and so we're trying to do the best that we can for you. So we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
Oh, roll call, I'm sorry.
Trustee Cheney?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Flora?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
Yes.
Resolution enacting a local law imposing a 6-month moratorium on land use approvals for development of public utility facilities involving energy storage systems. Whereas heretofore the village board has considered the adoption of a local law entitled the Village of Warwick Temporary Moratorium on the Acceptance of and Processing of Applications for Approval of the Public Utility Facilities involving energy storage systems. And whereas following due notice, the village board held a public hearing on the proposed local law. Now therefore be it resolved as follows, that the village board determines that the adoption of this local law is a type 2 action under seeker. And that the village board hereby adopts the local law. And 3, that the local law shall be effective immediately and shall be filed in the office of the Secretary of State in Albany as required by applicable law.
Second.
Okay.
Trustee Cheney?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Flora?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
Yes.
Resolution introducing a proposed local law to change the zoning designation of certain real property from residential R to light industrial LI. Whereas the village board of the Village of Warwick has received a petition to change the zoning designation of certain real property located at 42 Orchard Street from residential to light industrial. And whereas the village board of the Village of Warwick has before it a proposed local law entitled a local law to amend Town Code Chapter, I should say Village Code
Village
Chapter 145 entitled zoning to change the zoning designation of certain real property located at 42 Orchard Street from the residential R to light industrial LI. And whereas in order to consider adoption of the proposed local law, it is necessary to first introduce it, make the necessary referrals, and hold a public hearing upon it. Now therefore be it resolved as follows, that the movement of this resolution does hereby introduce the attached proposed local law. That a public hearing on the said local law is hereby set for May 19, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. That the village clerk shall publish and post notice of the public hearing. Pursuant to Village Code 145-170, the village clerk shall transmit to the village planning board a copy of the proposed local law for review and a report. And pursuant to the general municipal law, section 239M, the village clerk shall transmit the county planning department copies of the proposed local law, the seeker EAF, and the site plan application filed by the owner of the subject property. And pursuant to Village Code 145-171, prior to the public hearing, the petitioner shall submit to the village clerk a list of the names and addresses of all owners of real property within 500 feet of the property affected, or any contiguous property of the petitioner in the same ownership. And pursuant to Village Code 145-171, prior to conducting the public hearing, the petitioner shall provide the village board with proof that the notice of public hearing, including the date, place, and time of such public hearing, and a summary of the proposed zoning amendment, has been mailed to all property owners on the aforesaid list via certified mail, return receipt requested, not less than 7 days before the date of such a hearing.
Second.
And discussion, please?
Yes.
I would like to amend this slightly and clarify that it's not the entirety of 42 Orchard as we discussed. That is that certain portion to be subdivided in the rear of the yard. How would you recommend, Steve, that we could clarify this in the resolution?
Well, the local law itself, which is attached to the resolution, or should be, I'm not seeing it here.
It's not here.
Oh, I sent it to Raina, I don't know what to tell you about that.
I believe it's in our packet. It's in our packet.
I didn't see it in the packet.
Indicates that it's only a portion of the property and has a meets and
No,
bounds
wait a minute.
description of it, so I think you're covered on that.
Okay, I mean, it's still in terms of having a resolution that stands alone, if someone were to refer back to it, I think it's important that, at least in the meeting minutes, that this reflects
Wait,
that.
the resolution, the local law that's included in our packet says that it's lot 2.
So we should match that with the resolution, is my point.
Well, what you
Can we
could
just
do-
add lot 2 of,
If you
Yeah,
look at,
42 Orchard, comma,
There you
lot
go.
2.
yeah,
so in the first paragraph, say, whereas the village board of the village of Warwick has received a petition change the designation of lot number 2
But
in
Never mind.
the subdivision.
is it lot 2 when it becomes
It's
adopted?
what it is now.
It's what it is now. Okay, all right,
It's
got it.
identified, it's on file with the.
Got it.
In the subdivision of the real property located at 42 Orchard Street.
Okay.
That also.
Yep, that's great, thank you.
Okay.
So I'd like to, I guess,
Amend that.
amend, make the motion as amended.
No, we gotta make the amendment first.
Okay, I'd like to amend the resolution.
Yeah, there you go.
Second.
Second. Oh, Mary got it.
Sorry.
Now you can
Okay.
do by voice vote.
Okay, roll call.
No, you do by voice vote.
Oh, vote,
This is
okay.
just to amend.
Oh, just to amend that, okay, right, that's right. The complexity of it all. So, we have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
And now,
Yep.
Vote the amended motion.
do we have a second?
Yes.
Yes.
Second.
All in favor, oh, now it's a roll call.
Trustee Chang.
Yeesh.
Yes.
Trustee McKnight.
Yes.
Trustee Calora.
Yes.
Mayor Newman.
Yes. But,
I know, look what I did.
Pausing.
Look what I did.
all for
Okay.
all for the good.
A motion to refer the zoning change subdivision and site plan and application of Vanessa Mann and M&L Equity Auto LLC in regard to 42 Orchard Street to the village's engineering consultant for review and a report on potential significant adverse environmental impacts under seeker. This is an unlisted action. This is an unlisted action in which the village board is acting in an uncoordinated review.
Second.
Okay. Any comments?
Well, discussion, do we now have to add in this one, 42 Orchard Street, comma, lot 2?
Well, this is more just about the engineering
Okay,
consultant to
I
review
just
it. But is
wasn't
it
sure
an
if we
unlisted
wanted-
or is it type 2?
Oh, no, it's on this.
it's unlisted. I just wasn't sure if I wanted to be consistent.
That's better.
Oh, I was looking at the earlier energy storage type 2. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion to return the planning board escrow balance of $1,292.52 to Mr. and Mrs. Dean Kui for a proposed two-family home at 92 Maple Ave. This account has been inactive since 2022. All invoices have been paid as per the email from village engineer Keith Woodruff.
Wait,
Did we skip
we
one?
skipped one.
Skip 26.
26.
Let's do 27. He's got it.
Let's do
Second.
Okay.
Yeah, just go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And back to 26.
I have a motion to refer the property description, Schedule A, for the requested zoning change to 42 Orchard Street on the petition of Vanessa Mann and M&L Equity Auto, LLC, to the village's engineering consultant for review and confirmation that the description is accurate, adequate, and correct.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then we have an addendum. Copy of that. Mary, do you want to do that?
Sure. Motion to grant permission to clerk to the Justice Court, Karen Vermillion, to attend a one-day training event organized by the Town of Wallkill Court on Friday, March 28th, 2025, from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Town of Wallkill Court in Middletown, New York. The training is free to attend. Mileage reimbursement to apply.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have some reports. So, Barry?
We're in the home stretch on the streetlights. By next meeting, I expect I'll be announcing that we're complete. I did stop by and talk to the installers and thank them for the good job that they're doing. They've been very responsive to outages that occurred during the time that they were doing their work, and also some questions and concerns that were raised by residents relative to some of the lights shining back on houses and onto properties, and they've made those corrections as well.
Yeah, it's great. Very good. Anything else?
No?
Mary?
Just wanted to say that the village newsletter went out last week. You can see it here. We also have some here in Village Hall, and we also have some next door at the Tourism Center if you would like to grab another one.
Just curious, the tourism center, it was open on St. Patty's Day. Is
It
that-
was.
And so, are we moving forward with weekends? or-
Yeah, I think I'm just waiting for the weather to get a little warmer
Mm-hmm.
because I've been there a couple of hours during the weekend and it's not that busy enough. I'm waiting
Sure.
for it to get like a
Understood.
little bit more action and then we'll move ahead with the schedule of volunteers. But we are still looking for volunteers next door. If you're interested, you can email me.
Dressing up as an apple?
Oh, Carly would love that. She's.
We'll work on that. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Tom?
Report.
I just have a few things. I just want to mention that internally, we've been working on multiple grants. The records management grant, which has been pretty much accomplished, but then now we're moving on to the second phase of that and applying for but more. And also, we are working on the feasibility study of Route 94 multi-use trail. Also Safe Streets for All, and Patriots Path, which is in Memorial Park, and of course the solar panels at the DPW garage. So it's quite a bit of work that's happening internally, and it's all at different levels. It's sometimes hard to keep it all straight, but we have great staff here that we move forward and figure it out, and we have great consultants that we can lean on, whether it's on the federal level or the state level, or specific programs. So that's really good. I'm very proud of that we have pursued so many grants and that we've won so many grants. So it's really a great thing. And these are projects that I think will have an impact on all of us. I also want to mention that the skate park phase 1 has begun, and that is excavation on the site, which is it's in Memorial Park, and it's next to the lower parking lot of the library, which is actually village property. So that work is going to continue for many months, but this is kind of the main piece right now is excavation, moving earth. There's been a lot of trees moved, taken down, and we have received calls, concerns, but I can assure you that there will be berms that will be put in place and new trees that will be put in place as buffers so that we don't, people like to use the trail, the McFarland pathway, and we want to keep that, as an element so that they don't conflict. So we're working on that too. And I just want to mention also, spring is here, and outside activity is increasing throughout our village and town, of course. And so just be careful, pay attention to speed limits, and if you're close to parks, be very careful and pay attention to the activity that's happening around you. So that's all I have tonight. I guess we have public comments, and no one's here, so final comments from the board. No? Okay. No executive session this evening, so can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, that's right, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Thanks, gang.
Thank you.
How you doing, Steve?